So, B'siyata Dishmaya, we're going to continue in the gates of the Baal Shem Tov. We're in the 12th chapter, learning about practical advice from the Baal Shem Tov on how to learn Torah. Practical advice that you can apply to your Torah learning. La 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 la. It says in the Torah, in Parashat Balak, V'yar et Yisrael shochen lishvatav, that these wicked people saw Am Yisrael. We were shochen lishvatav. We were dwelling according to our tribes. Meaning, when we traveled in the desert for 40 years, everywhere we went, it was in tribal formation. Certain tribes that lead, certain tribes on the right, on the left, in the back. And that's how we would walk and march through the desert. And also when we dwelled and we made a camp, which was 38 years out of the 40 years we were in the desert, we were actually sitting in camps and not moving. Only for 2 years were we actually traveling. 38 years out of that whole entire 40 years, we were resting in camps. And even in those camps, we were in formation. There's a formation of how Am Yisrael rests. Rashi says, right? Rashi says there that when he saw Balak and Bilam, they saw that the Jews are all resting in this formation. One of the things that stood out to them was that our doors were not facing each other. Meaning there's no, like in America you have, right, two front doors, right, and your front door neighbor, we all grew up saying. That wasn't the case, right? All of the openings of the tents were to different directions. The classic, right, explanation of that is tzniut. I don't need you seeing inside my house. I don't want to see inside your house. Privacy and modesty and to hide what's mine and to not look at what's yours. Ma tovu alecha. No, ma tov mishkanot Yaakov. Yeah, how good are your tents, Yaakov? Shamati b'shem Abal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov said on this, Ra she'en pitchem mechuvarim ze keneged ze, amar ra'ui shetishrei alein shechina. The Baal Shem Tov says that their doors weren't facing each other, therefore they're fitting that the Shekhinah should dwell on them. Atzal Omar, what does he want to say by this? Because when two people are learning, and they're getting into the learning, and they're getting into the pilpul, and they're going back and forth, and they're sometimes they don't admit to the truth. Right? First thing it's when you have this lesson learning Chassidut and Musar and stuff, but in Gemara, in the Talmud, when you get into it, oftentimes if you're two people learning together, one person's going to go to one side of the machloket, and the other person's going to go to the other side of the machloket. I'm with Beit Shammai. But no, what does it mean? It doesn't make sense. I agree with Beit Hillel. No, Beit Hillel doesn't make sense. And they just start to get back in front and they're bringing and they're learning, right? And they're trying to get to the truth. They're learning and they're explaining each one's side and each one's explaining how his side is right and how the other side is wrong. But what happens when you actually get to the truth? You have to drop your argument. You were wrong. And now you have to admit the truth. Instead of trying to get to the truth, their whole entire mission becomes how to shut down my friend's opinion. Not him as a person, I want to shut down his opinion. The opinion that he's saying in the Gemara, my whole job now becomes to attack that opinion and to say how it's not the truth. Even though you know your friend's words are right. He is telling the truth. He did get to the bottom line of what's being taught here. He got to the truth. You're just now still stuck inside the back and forth that you can't get out of it and admit to the truth. Even though that's the case, right? Your friend already got to the truth, but now when you start to answer him back and start to make all this intellectual gymnastics that they do in Gemara, what's your point? It's not to get to the truth anymore. You're just not making claims. You're just trying to go against your friend, so to say. The main intention of pilpul, of the back and forth, no, Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel, Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel, the whole point there is to get to the truth. And to keep what Chazal said in Masechet Avot, in the Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, in the 3rd chapter, 6th Mishnah, Shnayim sheyoshvim v'yesh benehem divrei Torah, Shechina shchoya benehem. Two people that sit together and they have words of Torah, the Shekhinah is there with them. So thank you come hang out with me every day here, Aaron. Bring the Shekhinah here. If I was sitting here by myself, there would be no Shekhinah. The mouth is called a petach, right? Two people sitting together, the Shekhinah is with them. And your mouth is an opening. Shemishama dibur yotzeh, that's where speech comes out of. And this is what it says. En pitchehem mechuvanim zeh keneged zeh. Their openings were not aligned one in front of the other. What does that mean? That their intention, when they come to argue in the Gemara and the learning, to oppose and to do negative, they're not aligned. Their intention should be to admit to the truth. It's fitting that Shekhinah should dwell amongst them. Meaning, these wicked people saw that Am Yisrael, when we dwell in our camps, according to our tribes, that their openings are not aligned one in front of the other. What's the opening? The mouth. When you're going back and forth, two mouths in Torah learning, and you're going back and forth, you need to make sure that you keep the proper intention, which is to come to the truth. Not just to fight, not just to oppose, and to debate. You care less about the debate. Yes, the whole entire Gemara is a debate, and it's a whole back and forth of who, he says this, he says this, but what about this opinion? What about that opinion? Yes, there are sides to it, and there is a sense of competition there. It's not the point. Those are all the negative negative ways you could look at the same process. The true process is, here's one opinion, here's another opinion, here's another opinion, here's another opinion. Okay, what's the truth? And when you get to the truth, so if your mouths are not aligned, meaning your openings are not aligned, because you're trying to fight, there's no Shekhinah there. If they're not aligned because you're saying one opinion, he's saying another opinion, but you're both trying to get to the truth, Shekhinah is there. Right? One more teaching, or maybe a few more, two more. Go ahead.
So that would be like Hillel and Shammai both wanted...
Hillel and Shammai, their children got married to each other.
Yeah, and they both wanted to get close to Hashem.
They wanted the truth.
And so it's okay to have either of those things as long as you want to get close to Hashem.
Correct. We're talking about not Hillel and Shammai, we're talking about us, in our generation, right? If you and I were to get into the Gemara now and start to argue, and I'm sure about one side, you're sure about the other side, and we forget that we're trying to get to the truth, there's no Shekhinah there. If our mouths are opposing each other, but we're both trying to get to the truth, it's just you have your opinion and I have my opinion, so then the Shekhinah is there.
Got it.
The mouths are not going to be aligned, for sure. The question is, are they not aligned because they're trying to fight, or are they not aligned because they're both trying to get to the truth? And then they really are aligned, they're just saying two different things. One more Torah. It's known already what the Baal Shem Tov said. They asked the Baal Shem Tov about the Parah Aduma, the red heifer. How do I learn from a red heifer? What am I meant to do in Avodat Hashem? We learned before that everything in the Torah can affect your Avodat Hashem. There's nothing at all, not even one letter in the Torah that's not there to make you a better person. Every single thing is no just pure information in the Torah. Every single thing is meant to make you better and better and to help you grow. Because that's why the Torah was given. The Torah is called Torah from the word morah, teach, a guide. This is the path that you should go on. And whoever does this and serves Hashem properly, they reveal to them secrets of the Torah. And the secrets is how to take the 613 mitzvot and to use them to serve Hashem, even if you can't do the mitzvah. For example, not all of us are Kohanim. Not all of us want to get divorced. Not all of have someone to bury. A lot of things, a lot of mitzvot that are written as one of the 613 mitzvot, there's no way for us to actually practically do it. There's no way for me to really do it because I'm not in that situation, or I'm not that person, or I'm not a woman, all these different things. But I'm still commanded on it. There's 613 commandments in the Torah, and they're for all of Am Yisrael. How could it be? But it's not my commandment. I literally can't do it ever in my life. You can still learn from it something. certain thing to connect to Hashem. So, and all of the mitzvot are eternal. So what can we learn from the Parah Adumah that now in our generation we don't have it? And we don't have a priest that's going to do it. Meaning again, spiritually and mentally, all of the mitzvot are completely relevant for every single Jew, no matter what kind of Jew they are. All the mitzvot are completely relevant. But you need to find how to take it to practical application to make you better. Mentally, spiritually, all the mitzvot are eternal. They're all still relevant to this day. Because the Torah is godliness, and godliness is eternal. It's not limited. Like we say, the students of the Baal Shem Tov say in his name, that the whole entire Torah צריכה להימצא בה תמיד בכל זמן בדרך חוכמה ושכל שיש ללמוד מכל מצווה ורמיזה. We have to learn from everything. We have to learn from everything. We have to learn from everything. Every single part of the Torah is coming to teach us something else. I don't see here where the answer is what we can learn from the Parah Adumah. I don't understand it. It's just that everything we can take for advice. So I'll give you one way you can learn from the Parah Adumah. I got this from my Rebbe, Rabbi Yoel Torjman Zatzal, passed away. That the Parah Adumah was a very interesting thing. The person that did the process of the Parah Adumah, meaning the high priest that took the cow, the red heifer, slaughtered it, mixed the blood with the water, sprinkled the water on the Jews to purify them, he became impure. By that whole process, he went into it pure. When he's done with it, he's impure now. And everybody else that he did sprinkle water on becomes pure. Weird question. How is it that this exact same process, the person who's doing it becomes impure, the person who receives from it becomes pure? And the same thing, how could it be? And we know that the whole idea of the red heifer was to purify us from the defilement of death, the negative forces that can stick onto us, from us going away from the Torah, coming in contact with dead bodies, with dead animals, with negative things, bad places, the sin of Adam and Eve. The red heifer came to remove all of that from us. But again, the person, the Kohen that did it, became impure. How could it be that we have something that has two different opposite outcomes? So Rav Torjman always used to tell us that the secret of the Parah Adumah is a secret of what goes on inside of us sometimes, that we tell ourselves, for example, I'm an angry person. I've always been an angry person. I'm always going to be an angry person. There's no point in working on my anger. Every time I try to work on my anger, I just get more angry. If you're not an angry person, take that and switch out anger to whatever word you are, because we all have negative things that we need to work on, and things that we think that's just how I am. I was born that way, I grew up with it, I'm going to die that way. We all have these things. So on one hand, you say, if I go and I try to purify my anger, I'm going to become impure. It's all going to come up. I'm going to have to deal with things I'm not used to dealing with, and I'll be impure. You feel like you're the Kohen that now needs to purify the nation of Israel, but you're going to become impure by way of doing it. The truth is, Rav Torjman would always say, that maybe, just maybe, if you started to work on that place, what you think that will make you so impure is going to lead you to purity. It's two sides of the same coin. But back then it was on two different people. There was the Kohen who killed the cow and sprinkled the blood, and there was all the people that received the blood. But the whole entire Torah and the Chassidic mindset is coming from within me. I need to do the purification, and I need to become impure doing it. But maybe, just maybe, if I'm willing to face all of those black parts inside of me, those places of death inside of me that I think are so set in stone that there's no way to purify it without getting impure, without coming into contact with Tuma, maybe, just maybe, if I do that, I'll come out on the other side pure. We can't get afraid from going into fixing and working on things that need to be worked on, because that's how I am. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to be that way. You could work on it, and you could make it a better reality. Yeah, and it takes some work, and you're probably going to have to deal with some things that you're not used to and you don't want to. But if you do that for a little bit of time, the outcome is purity. The outcome is renewal. The outcome is a new slate. Zat Hashem. B'ezrat Hashem. Last one. We're going to read it now. We're going to read it to start the next time as well. Halimud yeh bekoach uvesimcha gedola. Learning Torah has to be done with power, with might, and with great joy. V'zeh mema'et machshavot zarot. When you learn with passion, when you daven with passion, when you daven and learn with joy, you have less foreign thoughts in your prayer and your learning. B'ezrat Hashem.